Welcome to Your Vote, the St. Joseph News Press Now's coverage of the upcoming municipal election. I'm local government reporter Quinn Ritzdorf, and we're continuing our Q&A series. And with us is Kenton Randolph, running for at-large council. Kenton, thanks for doing this.
Yes, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
First question, I-229. It's a huge discussion. Of course, the council, it's not necessarily their decision, but they do get to offer insight on what they want to do for the city. What do you want to be done to I-229?
So absolutely, 229. So 229 is just vital to St. Joseph. So there's no doubt that 229 will have to remain. So it's part of our kind of a heartbeat of St. Joseph. So without that, we lose a lot of commerce that's coming down from the north of farmers and so forth. Also our folks of St. Joseph, but other businesses. So if we talk about that long-term wise, it's vital for St. Joseph because trying to figure out ways that we can grow downtown St. Joe and St. Joe as a whole, 229 is going to be imperative to stay in some format. So hopefully we can definitely work something out between the city and MoDOT.
Drug overdose deaths have more than doubled in the last 2 years. What do you think needs to be done when it comes to kind of the drug situation in town?
Well, okay, so St. Joseph, unfortunately, we have not been able to hold our word to keep up with what we offer to pay police officers, our public service people. So it's critical that we kind of bring things back to our core structure in St. Joseph and focus on making sure that our police officers are retained here in St. Joseph and we offer them benefits in order for them to choose to come to St. Joseph. So we need to, as a city, we need to have some cohesiveness between the departments. The police department, our fire department are kind of our heartbeat there again of St. Joseph, and it's imperative that we take care of those people. Without them, then we really don't have much of a community if we have overridden with crime and drugs. So in order to get that under control, we're going to have to bring more officers to St. Joseph, and we're going to have to offer them better incentives to be here.
Yeah, the last count was more than 100 plus people living in homelessness here in St. Joe. How would you address kind of the homeless population in town?
So homeless population is a big concern, obviously. So I think there's the city there again. I'm about teamwork. So when a city of St. Joseph has the ability to interact as a team with different entities, whether this be outside organizations or grants or so forth that we can look at to try to come up with a problem-solving discussion about homeless, then we can look at different avenues that was going to be best fit for that. So we do have to address it, and we have to address it, I think, pretty quickly. So that's something that with a new council coming in, we're going to have to look at those core problems right away.
Blight in town, I mean, when you drive anywhere in St. Joseph, there's vacant structures, blighted structures along almost every street in town. What's your strategy to revitalize St. Joseph?
Absolutely. So that has become a big concern. So along my whole campaign, I've pushed to make St. Joseph beautiful, make St. Joseph safe, which are important issues in our streets and so forth. So I think with the homes that are blighted, that have decayed and so forth, dilapidated, we have to have some pride in our ownership. So put that back onto the owners of those homes that have let those properties fail to where they look horrible. It looks bad for our city. But our city needs to be more aggressive in making sure that there's ownership responsibility. And pride in our ownership and pride in our city. We've lost that pride. So that's my whole message, I think, with this campaign is that St. Joe is doing a lot of nice things for our parks, our trails, our downtown development and so forth, but we need to reel it back in a little bit because we've lost vision of our core infrastructure in St. Joseph. And those problems have to be addressed in a quick fashion in order to encourage more growth in St. Joseph, encourage more retention, encourage businesses that come here, encourage businesses that are here now that want to expand and grow. So we have a lot of work to do to make St. Joseph a vital place to want to come and work and live and thrive and be a community that everybody trusts.
There are many residents in town who point to kind of the school district as one of the reasons population has declined.
Absolutely.
How would you, and I know you're not running for school board, of course,
right,
but how would you, as a city council member, enhance that relationship between the city and the school district?
Right. So I'm going to go right back to what I have messaged all along the way, is that we as a city have to communicate with these different departments. We have to have teamwork and we have to have cohesiveness. We need to work with our county, we need to work with our schools, we need to work with our police department, our fire departments, maybe even to our hospitals. We have to figure out what we need to do to grow St. Joseph and to keep that strong relationship. Right now, we don't play, or we don't communicate in the same levels. We all work in our own little departments, and we have to stop that. So I've gone to door and talked to people about what is the number one problem that you have in St. Joseph. The number one problem is crime. The number two problem is our schools. So city needs to get involved with our schools to make sure that we are doing the best that we can do to enhance that, to make sure that people know when they want to come to St. Joe to take ownership in a property here or to take a job here, that they know that we're going to work on providing the best protection that we can to our citizens. We're going to provide the best streets that we can to our citizens. We're going to provide the best schools to our citizens, because without those two important things, safety and schools, is what people look at when they come to any community. So I know we can do a lot better. We can do a lot better.
You just mentioned crime. Violent crimes increased last year. There have already been a number of murders and shootings this year. What steps need to be taken to limit crime in town?
We have a real problem with our police department. So the city has let our police department down, in my opinion. We haven't allocated proper funds to get them up to where they need to be making salary-wise, their benefit package, their retirement package. We're down 22 officers, I think, last I heard. So we have to be there again. We're spending all this money right now currently. The current administration is spending this money on our parks, on our trails and so forth, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, St. Joe needs to grow in that way as well. But we have to be realistic here and bring back our core strengths. And if we lose that, we're losing out on all these great things that we can develop into being a great city again. So we have to focus on getting officers on our force, retention. They need the right pay, they need the right benefits, they need the right tools to want to come to St. Joseph and be a police officer, as well as our fire department. Our fire department is missing adequate equipment that they need to fight fires. They're our first responders. They cannot go without being properly compensated, retirement plans, benefit plans, and their equipment. I mean, right now, police officers are having to fight multiple fires wearing the same uniform. So they go fight a fire today, and then they have another one tonight or tomorrow. They're wearing the same uniform, so they're not properly equipped to do the things that we need to do for St. Joseph, and it has to change. Those things have to change.
You just mentioned staffing shortage, and it isn't only the police department. When it comes to city departments, landfill, health department, streets department, the city is having a really tough time filling positions right now. How would you address that, not only in the police department, but just citywide?
Absolutely. And that's just because we're lacking the ability to retain our generations. They're leaving St. Joseph. We're down 4,500 some people within the last census about 10 years ago, so we are on a decline of people that want to come to St. Joseph to live. So if we as a city can bring back a lot of these core strengths, infrastructure, reduce crime, beautify, then I think there's no question that we cannot get quality people to move to St. Joseph. We have to enhance our appearance. We have to enhance us as a city. And I think once we do that, we're going to see a greater growth of citizens wanting to come back to St. Joseph, and the retention of people that graduate high school here that go on to a technical school or go on to our university. To retain those generations to stay in St. Joseph is vital for us to continue.
As a city council member, how would you increase pride? You mentioned a little bit, but increase pride in St. Joseph residents?
Just taking pride in ownership, period, number one. So we've talked about a lot of different types of not necessarily organizations, but programs to encourage trash and so forth. But the problem comes down to the people. I mean, it is we the people, which you've probably heard this before. We've heard it multiple times, but it's really true. You have to take pride in what you do and take pride in your ownership, take pride in your home. You have a home, and you want to maintain it. So, and that's expected as a homeowner. Let's give an example. You have a home, you have to make sure that everything is good. Your exterior, your roof and so forth is good, because if you don't allow that to happen, then you have this dilapidated appearance, and then your home is not valued what it used to be. So there has to be a lot of pride and ownership in order to continue to see a lot of more beautification in St. Joseph. And I think as a city, when we get behind those ideals, to ask people to take pride in their ownership, and if they don't, then we try to enforce those homes that are blighted with some ordinances that will allow the city to progress in a manner that makes that home either be able to sell that home, or to update that home, or to revitalize that home, or structure, or whatever it might be. But it's going to come back to pride and ownership. There's no doubt there.
The city's getting its second installment of $19 million of American Rescue Plan Act funds, and the next council will decide how to spend that. Absolutely. What would be the first thing you would want to spend that money on?
So that money needs to be looked at in a fashion to where we're going to have long-term benefits from it. So long-term infrastructure benefits. That's the problem that I've seen, is we've spent and allocated these millions of dollars in other projects, and we have not paid attention to what we have already created to be able to create infrastructure in St. Joseph and to maintain that. So those dollars need to go as far as they possibly can back into that core of St. Joseph, make sure our infrastructure is good there. We'll talk about streets again. We'll talk about crime again. We talk about job retention again, growth, fire, police. Those are things that we really need to spend our dollars on, because if we have a really strong core, which I'm referring to core as being those vital working connections between groups of people. Once we get that established, we have a lot of trust that we've gained back into St. Joseph. And from that point, then we have the opportunity to keep expanding and expanding and expanding. And I think we can make St. Joseph a really beautiful city to want to be in if we pay attention to our core.
My last question here, I already mentioned the population declined by 5,000 in the last 10 years. What needs to be done to increase the population? What would be your strategy?
So increased population strategy would be to pay attention to what we need to do, as we've just talked about. Those developments, those strengths are going to be critical. We have to encourage businesses to want to come to St. Joseph to grow here. We also need to pay really close attention to our businesses that are already here. We have a lot of big businesses that are in St. Joseph. Those businesses potentially want to expand, and we want them to expand in St. Joseph. We don't want them to consider some other place because of where we are to this point in time. So we have to make sure that to bring people back to St. Joseph, we have to offer them awesome jobs, awesome opportunities. And I know that we can do this. And there again, I'm a businessman, and I'm bringing a business perspective to City Council, and I'm used to building teamwork. And I know with teamwork, we can talk to those existing companies that are large and want to expand in our community, and we can talk to companies that are looking to come to St. Joseph, that want to make St. Joseph their home and to grow, to offer our folks good jobs. So I certainly know that there's a lot of hope and a lot of good things that can come to St. Joseph with the right people there.
That's all the questions I had. Is there anything else you want to say or add?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to come in here, and I look forward to the next one.